Hello and welcome back to a very special video. Today, a very different track. We are here in Coventry for my BIKC regionals. As you may have heard in some of the previous videos, I do want to win my regionals, qualified in 3rd position. Going into our first heat, there are 2 heats today. Semi-final, then a final race. Rolling start as well, so very different to what I'm used to. I've never done this before. Just following these lads in front, hoping they know what they're doing, because I definitely did not. Getting ready to go around the lap. I'll cut forward slightly, because we don't really want to go around the track with 5 mile an hour. That's rather boring. Getting ready for the lights go green. As soon as that light box over there goes green, we are away. These 2 in front, very, very quick. 1-2 in qualifying. Just trying our best to see what we can do. Either maintain position or move forward is what we're looking for. But unfortunately, getting placed in car 10, which was definitely the slowest car you could possibly be in. Going down the hill here, onto the braking. The rear end that popped straight right out. Was not expecting any of that from the brakes at all. Really wasn't pushing that hard. It was just kind of copying what I did in qualifying, and immediately sliding through these corners and losing the gap from these boys ahead. So it wasn't being towed forward anymore, and a lot of pressure behind. But did manage to keep track position on lap 1 at least. Going up to the final corner here, massive slide again. Managed to catch it and have to go slightly defensive there, which is not what we'd want. But do manage to keep position again, and we are safe for the time being. Just trying our best to get in the groove as quick as possible. Half a lap later, having to go very defensive again from the guy behind. Very difficult track to get past on here. So all you have to do is avoid mistakes. But in this car, it's going to be very, very difficult to avoid those mistakes. We're going to try our best, that is. Managed to cover the inside line. A lot of times, getting the switchback doesn't work on this track because the driver that you're trying to get past has the inside line for the next corner. The flow in this track is terribly designed. This is probably the best pace to move down, a massive slide and exit, and this guy is just using his better car power to make the move. Gets up and ahead, and there's not really much you can do there as the guy behind him tries to get past as well, and that leaves us with no option. You can immediately see driving past. Not only is he probably a tad quicker than me, car 2 was very nice that day, and now it's really, I really can't manage to keep up with him. But as he at least try and stay behind his line for as long as we can, just to protect us and the driver behind. We want to try and stay up as high as the order as possible, because the top 6 of these heats go to the semis, and so on. So we really got to do our best, but they're shaking our head, not happy with that at all. Just trying to keep 4th position, as you can see. A few laps later, really getting quite a large gap, already going defensive for the driver behind. But if you defend properly and you're feeling good with your car, there's pretty much no way anybody can overtake on this circuit. It's definitely a terrible track for racing. In my opinion, it'll be alright if this S section wasn't there that we're going through now, because you're alongside wheel to wheel, and you go in this S section where there's suddenly no room to go side by side, and the flow's just ruined for racing at least. For hot lapping, brilliant. But for racing, I can imagine their members' nights here are boring. I can imagine nothing happens, and track position probably stays reasonably same throughout most races. I know throughout the juniors they only saw a couple overtakes, and that's when people were really pushing. But here's nodding. I finally got comfortable with the car, understood what was going on, because that gave us a parade lap. That braking zone was the first time I pressed the brakes on this cut, but here we are going defensive from the driver behind here. Different driver this time, very, very surprised. Go nice and defensive into the turn, and that is the checkered flag. We have kept 4th position in race 1. Would have been much nicer to be on the podium. We've tried our very best there. That is race 1 over. We did our very best, and that's the result we came out with. Still very happy with P4. Plenty good enough to continue moving forward here. All we really need to do is find ourselves in the top 6. But at the end of the day, top 3 is where you want to be, because to get through to the final on Warrington, top 3 it is. Anyway, on to Heat 2. Here we go, on to Heat 2. Right around to the straight, waiting for that light to go green. Behind these 2, once again for Heat 2. Seeing what result we can get here. Once again, starting in P3, every single heat you start in your qualifying position. So back up into 3rd place and another chance. Stay in the top 3. Fortunately for this session, in a much better car, giving us a much better opportunity to stay in position and also defend. Trying to chase these lads up front again, staying on their rear bumper a lot better on that first major braking zone, keeping the car nice and stable, which is always good. Coming around these final couple of corners here, following them through quite nicely. These two got amazing luck with these cars, pretty much in the top 4 best cars of every single race they were in, so doing very well themselves here. Forcing the guy ahead to go slightly defensive. These two aren't going to give you any room at all, so you have to be very, very careful here. Slight tap of the wall. Obviously that last car just obviously felt a lot worse, so I was driving a different line and my brain hadn't adjusted that quickly yet. I also lacked a bit of track experience, only coming down for a couple of adult sessions earlier in the week, well, a few weeks ago at least. So here, coming out the exit, I left a massive gap down the inside. This guy is alongside, but I was slightly ahead of the corner. A tiny bit of contact, but it actually messed up his exit slightly. And that allows us to get back through and maintain position there. Very, very close. But we do manage to keep that and continue moving forwards. This does unfortunately mean we lose the gap to the guys ahead. But we do continue moving here, go immediately defensive to get a terrible exit there. Keeping everyone back, still going defensive up the hill, but still our king back to the racing line, and off we go. Get defensive into this next corner as the guy behind still putting on quite a lot of pressure, recorrecting our line from the time before, covering that inside line straight away. You want to be nice and close to the apex anyway, but it was just a slight mistake for me. Wasn't feeling very confident with the track the whole day really. Stepped in feeling unconfident, and I have no idea how I managed to pull P3 in qualifying, because if I hadn't, I'd been stuck. Anyway, no longer the race left. These races are fortunately about 10-15 minutes, so not too stuck having to defend for too long. If it was longer, it would be much more difficult. Fortunately, nice and short. Here we go, looking quite comfortable now. No felt pressure for a full lap. But you kind of battling with the car. We didn't feel comfortable throughout any of the session. Just trying our very, very best. But P3 is still plenty good enough for where we want to be for this whole competition. P3 is the threshold that we need to be in, and that's all. No need to take risks if they're not needed. So P3 we are happy with. We're still getting bumped behind. Not sure if that means we're slow or the guy behind us has a brake, but there's no way to tell us that. But trying our best nonetheless. Not long to go. Quite a lot of spectators. I was really surprised by the amount of people that came to watch. But it was nice to have spectators. But grounding the last couple of corners, it's probably our last lap or so at this point, I'd have to say. Only a couple of corners. Really struggling that section. Really didn't feel like I was using enough of the track. Kind of for some reason thought a driver was going to kind of come down the inside, but that wasn't the case. Anyway, here we go, around a couple of corners, down the final straight, coming past all the people watching. It's very lovely. Around in the final corner, and that is the checkered flag out, and that is our race over. P3, very happy to settle with, and giving the guy behind us a nice fist bump, and that is P3 and P4 for Heat 1 and Heat 2, which is very respectable considering the speed them boys ahead were pushing, and this does give us a spot in the semi-final. So on we go. Here we go for our semi-final. This is what's going to put us onto the final part of our day today. If we get in the top six of each bracket get put into the final race. That race will determine who gets to go into Warrington. Anyway, here we go, looking for that line to go green, and away we go. Different order as both Group A and Group B have now been put together. Unfamiliar face in P1, and we look for immediately for a gap on the inside, as we know this guy, Peters, is in car 10, which, as we saw on our Heat 1, very, very slow. But he's really not, as we said, not giving any room at all. So I've got to really force ourselves into that gap, and obviously there's drivers behind. You do not want to risk P3. The further up you are, the better position you're going to get for the final, which is why I'm relying on. Get myself high up and just stick position in the final, because all I need is the top 3 to get to Warrington. Against the Nationals would be brilliant. Anyway, Peters very, very desperate to get past this guy in car 13 ahead. And this does mean that hopefully for us, a gap should open up at some point, which is all that we're waiting for at the moment. as Peters and car 10 continuing to put a lot of pressure on the driver in front, and that's what we need to rely on. Put in a good lap, get ourselves up and behind, and we'd be set. Unfortunately for us, these two incredibly quick. Anyway, here we are, just half a lap later. Car 10 makes a very ambitious move down the inside. The gap was not there, and this does close them back up to us. And pretty much all we're relying on, because we're still struggling for pace throughout this whole race, but we are just about quick enough to hold on. And with these two battling, that does push them back to us, and will at some point hopefully give them an opportunity for us to make an overtake. Because even now on our third session of the day, we're still not using all the track, and we're getting there, but definitely still needs a bit of work. Anyway, here we go, on to the next lap. These two still battling. Car 10 goes for another ambitious overtake, and we have another look down the inside, but he still has the inside line for these S section, and we go wide to avoid getting pushed off track, as another driver has a sneaky little look down the inside, but we do get a better exit and a better run and manage to keep position, although losing a bit of time to the driver ahead. Anyway, here we go. Still up behind, closing up quite nicely as these two continue to slow each other down. Both in pretty shabby carts, if I'm completely honest. As we're just kind of driving really. All we really needed, P3 would be plenty good enough. But we do know P2's on the table. And in my opinion, I was definitely quicker than both these two. So P1 was definitely there. Anyway, still looking for a gap. That's all we need to wait for here. As soon as a gap opens, we need to put ourselves in it as soon as we possibly can. Unfortunately, this track, as we've seen throughout nearly every single heat, terrible for finding gaps. But we do have 15 minutes to just take our time. But still 15 minutes is a bit of a rush. But no matter what, always got to think the long game. Never force the moves, or it's going to end up being some sort of penalty. But you just got to try our best as we get a really nice exit here, right behind these two. What we're going to have to do is set up this overtake way far back, as we see these two aren't using all the track space. And we could possibly try to find a gap somewhere, but we're still not able to slot ourselves in. Not got that enough speed. As you see on this S section, we are still losing space. Obviously, I think maybe a bit more track time could have been helpful for this whole competition. But we are doing alright. We are in the top 3. Cannot complain. And this car 13 does seem to be all over the place, which is good for us. That is what we want, because that's pushing car 10 into us. And it's pretty much the only reason we're getting a good opportunity, even 5 position at all here, as these two still on a battle. They're noisy on the track, don't get the best run through there. Unfortunately, we cannot get the look down the inside just about yet, as we do still have to settle for 3rd position. As car 10 beginning to look very desperate, and as we have seen in plenty of previous videos, driver mentality incredibly important. As soon as someone gets in their own head, expect a mistake, which is all we're waiting for still. As we are around the next couple of corners, still right behind these two, feeling quite comfortable, getting quite comfy with the car. And we are looking incredibly strong on this penultimate corner, which does give us a nice run. We do look towards the inside, but once again, just haven't got that speed. As car 10 needs a massive gap, we look to go in, but we see he closes towards the apex, doesn't realise we're there, and we have to lift out of that one. And that leaves the driver behind, looking to try and get past us. As well, we do want to get past these guys in front. We do not want to risk getting overtaken ourselves, as these two are kind of closing the whole field up and producing a bit of a train. As we see car 10 shaking his head, he's really not happy, but him not happy is definitely good for us, as if you're not thinking it straight, you're not going to make good decisions. But as we've said before, that's what we're hoping for, as he's still looking for a gap. We're still right behind him, but this race is not going to last forever, and we are running out of time, so we've got to get a bit of a move on, put in at least one good lap and just start putting that pressure on ourselves, getting his spots so he knows we're there, because at the moment we're still got a bit of a kart length away, which is definitely not good enough, as car 10 is literally in car 13's boots the whole way around the track, So we probably only got around 5 minutes or so left. Coming around the final corner, car 10 looking to get that inside line, and car 13 touches the inside wall there. That's going to give him a slightly worse exit. Looks towards the inside, but that gap isn't there, and that's going to give him a terrible run. We look towards the inside, and we slot ourselves in quite nicely as he's really far away from the apex, and that is us up into P2. And as you can see here, we're already right on the tails of P13. We're nowhere faster here, but as he said before, we definitely don't have much time left in this race, as we're not losing that car length that we were to car 10, which means the overtake should be on quite easily. But car 13, all he has to do is place his car on the inside line of the track, and that's all he has to do. So here we go around the second to last corner, get a way far better exit, get that speed. He's going to have to go slightly defensive here. But the inside line isn't there. We could look for a switchback, and that is the checkered flag. Very late checkered flag from us there. I was going to put on a battle. We did try our best. Position 2 is what we're going to have to settle for. And that is it. We are here at the final bit of our day. Unfortunately for me, my camera died. Anyway, unfortunately for me, someone recorded in the race. As you can see here, third position. You can see 2 drivers straight ahead. I am the driver in the white helmet, coming around turn 1 at the moment, going through the S's. There I am, in the green. Unfortunately, the quality definitely isn't the best, but it is all I can provide you. I did start this race in P4, managed to get myself into P3, but there was a bit of contact between a lot of the drivers, so there could be a possible opportunity or a penalty, but we've done very well here. This is the final lap, about to come across the line. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get P3 this day. P3 is all I need to get through to Warrington. Unfortunately, at the end of the race, I was slapped by the penalty, and I drew down the order. It was slightly controversial. I do disagree with it. Normally, I'd be happy to my hands if I did something wrong, but it was very controversial, and unfortunately, I didn't get through to Warrington. Anyway, I'm going to have to thank you for watching this video, for all the support on the recent karting videos. I'm really enjoying this. I'm planning to join as many competitions in the future as I possibly can, and continue bringing content. And this was definitely a fantastic experience, and I'll be releasing more videos in the future. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and I'll be back, I promise.